Take it over.
ऑफिस जाती है या घर रहती है, इनविजिबल रिमोट से हमारी जिंदगी हैप्पी बनाती है। हंसते खेलते सब फरमाइशें पूरी करती है। चॉकलेट की जलेबी और बूंदी का केक बनाती है। कभी मैथ्स, कभी जिंदगी की टीचर बन जाती है। कभी रूल्स तोड़ने का फॉर्मूला बन जाती है। माँ तो आखिर माँ ही होती है। पर जब डांटती है तो खुद क्यों रोती है? बच्चों से नाराज हो जाए तो खुद से क्यों रूठ जाती है? सबकी केयर करती है, खुद को क्यों भूल जाती है? एक कप कॉफी एंजॉय कर ले तो गिल्टी क्यों फील करती है? क्यों माँ ही भूल जाती है कि माँ भी तो इंसान ही होती है? Isn't that true? माँ भी तो इंसान ही होती है. And I think it's only human to accept that in the last 60 days, the marathon parenting that we have been doing is taking its toll on us. It's exhausting us. And we are not talking about the physical exhaustion here, because clearly, every time they depict a mother, uske 8 haath hote hain, the invisible hands. I'm still looking for mine, but that is for another one. What we are talking about today is mental exhaustion. Let's be honest, our kids, they are facing something that none of us have faced before. They would like to step out, but they can't. They want to meet their friends, but they can't. They are getting more clingy, they are throwing tantrums, and somehow we are losing our patience. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Ketchup Mom's live chat show, Let's Talk. And today we are going to talk about how not to lose our sanity with our kids during this lockdown. We have with us our mentor, Ms. Vinita. She's an ICF trained coach. She's an NLP master. She's a practitioner and therapist. And she's the founder of Be Infinite. Joining her are 5 beautiful mothers. We have Ms. Sabine Begwani. She's
Hi.
an Indian journalist. And she's also a mother of 2 kids who keep her busy 48 hours in one day. We have Ms. Prisha Lalwani. She's an Instagram very famous and popular person, and you can, you would probably know her as Mama Saurus. We have Ms. Niyati Sharma. She has the handle @4G and trust me, her doodles on everyday motherhood triumphs and failures, they really go straight to your heart. We have Ms. Namrata Kalia. She is the founder of Moms and More. It's one of the fastest growing online moms parenting group. We also have Ms. Seema Bali. She's the vice president, she's the vice principal of St. Mary's Dwarka.
Hi.
So, hello and welcome to all of you. Thank you for sparing your time. And I'm sure we are going to have a lovely chat show here and really be honest and represent our mom community. I think, Benita, before we hand over the space to you and you help us find our peace as moms, let's take it one by one from these mothers, how the COVID parenting has been treating them.
Absolutely. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi. So, would you please let us in? How has your journey been?
Oh, amazing, to say the least. Well, lockdown has definitely thrown a challenge at us, a challenge never seen before. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Sabine, and I'm mother of 2 boys, aged 15 and 7. So I'm practically taking care of 2 different parts of the world, entirely different parts of the world. While my teenager, he just wants to throw the caution to the wind and is yearning to go out. And constantly I have to hammer it in him, the perils of going out. And my 7-year-old, he has become totally clingy. He even wants me to make him have his meals to these times. I don't know whether it's the outcome of the abnormal times. And this is going to be my first question to Benita. Do you think this clinginess has something to do with the abnormal times? That's basically the essence of my story, and I'm looking towards the clarity as far as this thing goes. Thank you.
So thank you, Sabine, for
bringing up that question. I think a lot of parents are sitting in the same boat or similar boats that you have talked about. And to your question that why has suddenly your 7-year-old become clingy? And what is, and I think you were very right when you're through your intuit, when you said that these unprecedented times, what is the main emotion that is percolating during this time? What do you think is the main emotion that people are experiencing?
Maybe it's the fear.
Absolutely. So there is fear and there is uncertainty. When there is fear and uncertainty, what is a natural instinct of a child? To become clingy to an adult who is a protective image for the child. So absolutely, the 7-year-old is looking for some security, some safety of feeling a sense of, and that's why he wants this kind of a behavior is showing up. I think from a mother's space, more than what you actually do for the child, what is the emotion that you hold inside of you? If you yourself are sitting in a lot of fear and insecurity, then that is what your child will also come to experience. So even if the child is behaving that way, just accepting that, you know what, I understand, coming from the space that I understand why you're feeling, why you would be feeling this way. Now coming to the 17-year-old, 18-year-old, you mentioned the elder
15-year-old,
15-year. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. The 15-year-old, imagine this teenager is already going through a lot of transition without the lockdown, without the uncertainty and whatever is existing in the outer environment. Inside of himself, lot of physiological, hormonal, lot of upheaval is happening as it is. So this is a transitional phase in itself for him, and add to that this uncertainty and this kind of restriction, which will definitely put him at a greater edge, you know, to kind of show this kind of rebellious behavior where he doesn't want to. So I think, and then when somebody is going through these phases where they are feeling, you know, there is a transition happening, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of confusion happening. As a mother, I'm sure you know what are the ways through which you can actually make your child feel peaceful, a little relaxed. And what have you, I would like to hear from you, Sabine, what have you experimented? So as we talked about, these are unprecedented times that we've none of us have kind of experienced earlier. So definitely in our behavior also, there has to be some changes which we have not done before. So I would like to understand from you, and I think intuitively people are doing that. Without even, you know, knowing that they're doing that, they're shifting, the ways of being is shifting. So I want to hear from you as to what do you think, what changes have you experienced during this lockdown, while one child is becoming clingy, one child is trying to, you know, break all the rules and, you know, try explore on his own. What is the shift that has happened within you?
It has become difficult. Parenting has definitely become more challenging, for sure. For sure. There is no doubt about that. But I do try my best. I try to remain calm, but at times it does get onto my nerves as well. Let me be very honest with you. It does get onto my nerves as well. But I do try my best to be calm and try to kind of work out things. And probably, and my elder one is also experiencing what you call probably sports deficit. They were into sports, both of my boys. And suddenly, I don't know how to fill it up, basically. I mean, really don't know.
There is so much of energy. Imagine these children, they have so much of energy bubbling inside of them, and there is no channel. There is no way they can, you know, channel this energy. So how to keep them creatively, and plus this fear and uncertainty, which is adding on to it. So it is very, very important. I think the only thing we can, as mothers, do is convey that message of all is well. Things will be all right. We are in it together. And as you said, it is challenging, and I totally agree. It is challenging. But the best part is, whenever there is a challenge, what is the invariable thing that happens whenever you face a challenge? What is a default thing that will happen in the face of a challenge? What do you think? Any guess? I mean, I'm just opening it for a discussion rather than, you know, me doling out sets of advices and rules. So what do you think whenever you have faced a challenge in life, what have you achieved from that?
We got to learn, I guess,
Yeah.
rehash things, learn, move on, keep on learning, I guess. I
Yeah,
think you
so you
adapt.
learn
Maybe
and you
the ladies
grow.
can.
You
Yeah,
learn and you grow. So
absolutely.
invariably, any challenge that is presented in front of you is giving you an opportunity to grow as an individual, as a human being. So once the perspective shifts that yes, this is a challenge. Yes, this is not something we have done before. Yes, it is exhausting me,
True.
but this is also providing an opportunity for me to grow as an individual. And I always say, being a parent, the amount of personal growth that happens inside of that space, there is no other institute in this world which gives you that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So this for a parent is an opportunity to grow and evolve, and just to stay in touch with their own. So now when you say, when I feel exhausted, natural tendency when you're exhausted, what do? Whenever you're tired and exhausted, what do?
Take rest, probably, Benita.
Simple things. These are all the things that we know and we apply in our life. But here, sometimes because we have gotten used to being a certain way, it doesn't come naturally. So maybe you just have to bring all these learnings to the forefront and maybe make it a little easy, bring down the bars a little bit, and rest more, relax more, because only when you're in that state, you can do your best. And I would say stop trying, because when you say try, a subconscious message that goes to the brain is, it's difficult, something is gonna be difficult, so I'm going to try to do it. When you say I'll do it, it's a more neutral. So these are all subconscious ways in which you can give a message to your brain that, you know what, okay, I'll just do it. Hoga to hoga, nahi hoga to nahi hoga. I'll not put any other word to that. So maybe erasing try out of your sentences, just experiment with it and see, does that make life easier? When you remove all the tries and you say, I'll do my best. That's it.
Thank you, Benita. Thank you so much, Benita. Thank you.
I hope that answers your questions and gives you some clarity.
To a great extent. Yes, yes. Thank you, Benita. Thanks, Sita.
Fantastic.
Anita, but I want to add to what Sabine just asked. I'm a mother to twins, and I do lose my patience sometimes. And sometimes I feel that it's very important for the kids also to know that, yes, I'm exhausted. I don't want to be that all the time happy, and okay, come on, let's do this, now do this, now do that, now do that. Sometimes I just want to be myself and tell them that, yes, mama is exhausted. You need to step back. Is that
Absolutely.
good or is that bad as a mother?
Absolutely, Charu, on spot, I would say, because see, our previous lifestyle, we were all kind of running a race. Everybody now also I see a lot of that happening on Facebook. Somebody is baking, all mothers are like suddenly, I'm like, my God, we don't need bakeries and stuff anymore. Everything people are doing at home. So there's a kind of competition, that kind of a spirit which is good. What you have stated is exactly what we need to do and teach our children. And mothers are the best role models. No matter how much you say to the children, always remember they are not hearing, they are watching you. Okay, so when you model something, when you teach them how to draw boundaries, which is very, very important. So for all mothers, you have to define those boundaries. Till this point of time, they've not had boundaries. Mothers are always available, always there to do everything, and no personal me space and that kind of a thing. Now is the time when you define those boundaries, and you're doing a great favor to your children, because then they also learn to define their boundaries. And inside of their boundaries, they are true to their nature. They are not pretending to be somebody else or trying to always be the other person. They know this is who I am and this is what I need. So expressing your needs, making it very, very clear that, you know what, these are the 4 hours, you do whatever you want to do, or these are the 4 hours I want my me time, or 2 hours I want my me time, don't disturb me. Actually, children will respect that, because there is clarity. Anything you do with conviction and clarity, a child will always respond very positively to that. So drawing your boundaries is absolutely a mandatory thing, which I think women need to learn. Most of the women they just don't do that. They always say कि सबके लिए सब कुछ करते रहना है अपना yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to bring in Namrata here because Namrata, you have a very active community of moms and you're a mom yourself. So on your group, have you felt that mothers are talking more about being the, the 70s Indian Bollywood mom, which is like, bachon ke liye bas karte jao, and that is it? Or do you think that moms are expressing that, okay, enough, ho gaya, abhi just, let's just step back?
So Charu, I think you brought up a question because we are in a scenario where each and every mom is dealing with this differently. And it is all based on how supportive her family is.
True.
It all boils down to this. So there are a lot of moms who are really struggling. And when they say we are struggling, it's not just because of the children. They're saying children are the least of our worries. My husband is acting like a child. My in-laws are creating issues if my husband tries to help me out. That tum to matlab mere bete se kaam karaoge ab. The mother is trying to involve children in the household chores, and they're like, ye bachcho ka kaam nahi hai. So it is like different scenario in each and every household, and I really pity those mothers who don't have like supportive family members, because it's very important to understand, as as Charu clearly said, that we don't have like 10 arms. We also get only 24 hours, and we need some time for our sanity. We need that little time for that me time, which is like just ours, where we can just sit, get hold of our thoughts. So so there's so many moms facing so many issues. Some have come up with like brilliant stories on how my husband was not helping me at all, and mine was like that, because when we were in UK, he used to help me a lot. Once we moved to India, and he's like, "Ab tumhare paas help hai. You have help. You don't
Trying to involve children.
Yeah, you don't need me anymore." But when he saw that I was struggling, he took hold of a few responsibilities. I was raising a very privileged daughter who has never helped me in a household chores, and I am to be blamed for that. She's 9. She's supposed to do some things. But now when she realized ki mama is busy, there are so many things to do, she's pitching in herself. So I think it all boils down to what kind of family setup you are in.
So, Binita, that's a very interesting thing there.
Absolutely.
Our kids are born, these are the kids who will probably understand and maybe empathize with us. But what do we do with our mother-in-law's kids, who are still throwing tantrums? So I think that has gone another generation, but I think it's a lovely thing to, talk about here.
I have something to say here. I think it's high time we don't take the challenge of making the men folk understand and appreciate us. It's high time we take the challenge of appreciating ourselves, pat our
Bang on.
Then maybe the life keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bang on, Jen.
but having said that, Jayanti, it's easier said for people like us here who have probably, lucky to be married to men who are pitching in and, who think that it's not just a motherhood thing or a fatherhood thing. They take parenting as a whole. But I can assure you that at least more than 80% of India, the men, whether we are working from home or whether we are going to the office, looking after the kids, their homework, their classes, their tantrums, they have to behave, they have to get A+ grades, and we have to have a spick and span, house. And I think all of that is just left for the women.
So my question to you, Charu, is what would you want to do here?
Vinita, honestly speaking, I'm lucky. So I have a very well brought up, raised,
Yeah.
and I'm married too. So
Right.
I don't face this issue, but I can assure you that every single time he comes to pick up my kids from the school gate, you should see the way the women in that queue react. It's like, what a wonderful husband, what a wonderful father, he's pitching in. Excuse me, it should be the norm.
Yeah. I totally agree with all that you're saying, Charu. But the thing that we're discussing here is, and yes, we can't put a blame to one. It's the conditioning. It's the way men have been raised, maybe here. And I won't say good or bad. Let's accept the facts. That is a fact. Now, in the face of that fact, how do we respond? How we as women folk respond to a certain fact? Now, even for the virus, I mean, it's a fact that it is there, it is spreading, it is not going away. We are all adapting to that particular fact in various ways and forms, that and in our best capacities also, I would say.
But
The
you know,
same-
Vinita, as you only said, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like you put it, that the kids watch and learn, you know, instead of what we are doing. So
True.
if today we are sitting in these extreme times and they are seeing that the father is still a working dad, you know, that is it, period, full stop. And the mother has to do everything else. I think Niyati also wants to add to this.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So my husband was going to office and he still is. And yes, my children see that mama has to do everything. I think instead of expecting the men to change, which is not going to happen overnight, we have to change first. You know, we have to stop making elaborate meals. He likes this dal with this sabji and on. We have a lot going on. We have a lot on our plate. So before we need to pull back and decide that fine, today there is bread and egg for breakfast and that's it. So this is something so simple that we need to tell ourselves first, and then we can expect the others to change, you know. So we have to stop feeling that wife guilt and mommy guilt, that, you know, oh my God, he likes so and so, I haven't made it for the last 10 days. It's all right. You're coping, you have a lot. Till you don't share it that, yes, I am busy, I'm tired, you need to be more vocal. We have all these discussions on mommy groups, but there aren't any fathers, you know, discussing that, oh my God, our wives are handling so much. So I think it's about time you, you know, being more vocal and you decide that, okay, kids have to be looked after, but we have to cut down on our work. I think that's the way to deal with husbands.
True. So
Absolutely.
Niyati, let me hold you at that. So, you know, you make these lovely doodles where you talk about our everyday struggles. I've not seen one that you've done on how the kids are really getting to our patients.
Right.
So, how are you facing any kind of, you know, issues on that account right now?
To be very
So-
honest, I think my kids are doing really well. I have to give them credit. I did not expect them to handle it so well. We had a share of struggles initially. But when I look at this topic, I feel the first thing that we need to see is how are the adults handling it. So when my day is planned perfectly to the T, my lunch is ready, my dinner is ready, I'm in a good mood. I have time to rest. I have some me time, and I am in the condition to look after my children. I don't snap at them. I say, okay, come, let's play Ludo. But if my day is chaotic, then I can't blame the children. You know, I don't have time for that. So I think we need to plan our day better and then include a routine for the kids. It's very important for children to have a routine. If your child is getting up at 10 o'clock, the breakfast is happening at 11:30, then you can't blame the child for it, you know. So I think it's very important. The onus lies on us, you know. So the grown-ups have to
Absolutely.
completely say that, you know, my plan is ready and my kids' routine is part of my plan. And don't overwhelm kids with 100 activities. I'm not competing with mothers who are baking cupcakes. I don't have the time. We do it once in a while when we can. And otherwise, I tell my kids to play. I turned out okay with free play. So I'm sure my kids will also. So that is my approach to the whole thing.
I think fantastic. I think what Niyati, and that's why she's saying that her kids are, she's not losing. I don't think Niyati, you're losing your sanity over having to parent your kids 24/7. Are you?
So good. Yes. Yeah.
Good. So I think we should address a problem. Whoever is losing sanity, we need to figure out what's making them lose their sanity. And
Right.
let's address that piece. Because I think Niyati, whatever she has stated, these are everything. Now the focus is inside out. You first take care of what's inside. You first define those boundaries. What works for the family, what we will do, what rather than thinking about how do we change a certain person, it's as to what are my boundaries, what am I going to do, how am I going to keep me in a happy state of mind? Because when I am operating from a happy state of mind, that is where I can offer that to others.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the sanity, my own, I am responsible for my own sanity. Maybe the kids are could be acting as triggers at this point of time, but then that is my path, my journey to learn how to handle those triggers more patiently, maybe with some empathy, with some compassion. And these are the qualities that will develop inside of you. Charu is, I can see some question is,
No, so
yes, go ahead.
the only thing that was coming to my mind when we were talking about this, and I think simplifying life is a great mantra to have here that I think
Yes.
Jyoti has given us. But my question is, Benita, in a nuclear family, this is doable. In a joint family, it is not. Because you cannot get up and tell your elders that, hello, I need my me time. And so today we are just having one dal and two rotis. You can't. They still expect to have that layout. They still expect to have those two sabzis and dals and, dahi and bhallas and whatever. And I think I don't even blame them because they've lived the better part of their life, doing that.
Right.
So
So can I would just like to ask you, Charu. So you're working, right? And are you working?
well, work from home, if it is counted working, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's take a hypothetical scenario where you're working in an organization and your boss or your superiors, they have a certain style of, or certain expectations from you. And suddenly times have changed when you cannot deliver to their expectations. What do you do? What is the first step that you do?
Growing up on Bollywood movies, you still go out of your way and you try to do everything possible.
Well, maybe that is where you're going wrong. Maybe
You're
you
right.
just need to learn to reset expectations, have a clear and open communication. So use communication to reset or manage expectations, because we don't, there are anything somebody is expecting of you is you believe that we have to deliver to that. Now if things have changed and suddenly your responsibilities have increased, or whatever is a fact, is a reality, you have to take that into account and then maybe have a meaningful communication with and an open communication with somebody. Again, it comes back to defining your own boundaries, standing up for, this is what I will do and this is what I will not do. And I think that is what every woman has to learn. As to expectations, anybody can have any number of expectations from an individual. Whether you deliver to those expectations or not is a choice that you as an individual have, is a choice. It is not a mandate. So how do you practice that choice?
So let's bring in Prisha here.
Yes, Prisha has been raising her hand. I think she wants to say something.
I'm so sorry, Prisha, I didn't see that. But, because you and me, we both are mothers to twins. And while everybody thinks that that's the biggest blessing, and it is in a lot of ways, do you think it's double the pressure under these lockdown times, or do you think it is easier because they're always with each other?
First and foremost, Charu, I would like to say that twins is not 1 plus 1. It is 1 plus 100.
11.
I mean, it's like, 1 to the power 1, if that yields anything. That doesn't, though, mathematically, but it gets multiplied. It does not get added. So it's not 1 bacche ka kaam plus 1 bacche ka kaam. It is 10 bachcho ka kaam with 10 bachcho ka kaam. That's how with the twins it works. So every time one twin goes for a bath, he makes sure that the connected 2-3 rooms are all drenched in water, because he'll spill buckets and buckets to the extent that the rooms are all dirty. So for now, I think if I had a helper coming in, it wouldn't have been that tough. So the cleaning and all of that is taking the better of me, because there's just way too much of cleaning and keeping everything fine. And I'm not even talking about a spick and span situation. I'm just talking about basic situation where you have space among all the clutter to sit down and, just lie down for a bit. So a lot of times the work gets multiplied tremendously. Fights get multiplied tremendously. And yes, there are times when they're both just simply playing with each other and they're just boxing and wrestling with each other. So there are both these times. But again, both these times exist even when the lockdown wasn't there. What I am currently having difficulty is that my husband and my kids, they are sort of, they've all become the same category. So किसी चीज के लिए कहीं लड़ाई होती है, किसी चीज के लिए कहीं लड़ाई होती है, and all three of them are नहीं ऐसे करो, like he wants to be the strict parent even now, and I can see that that's not going to happen. So if they want to do a little bit of running around in the house, they will do it because one, they're bored, two, a little physical activity is good. But if that makes a noise, my husband is not okay with it. Somewhere it is justified because he's taking office calls all day, but it's way too much of workload. That's where my sanity goes off. And majorly the kids add to it, the husband in the equation, that adds to it, and of course if I have my own things to do, it's just extremely chaotic with me right now. One thing that I loved what Niyati said, that she keeps it simple and she's like, aaj bread ande hai, khao. That's it. That doesn't work with me because one of my kids is an extremely fussy eater and has very limited food choices. Plus my husband is on he's on a spree of wanting to eat all things nice. So it becomes difficult. There's just chores and chores and chores and chores, and it's a big pile up where I cannot seem to find any space or any relaxation in terms of having me time or even being able to complete everyday basic chores. So that's where my level of sanity is, which is like rock bottom right now.
Okay, wonderful. So I think we will get maximum of suggestions from your side. You're the one who's going to tell others as to how not to lose their sanity because you're the one who's experiencing it. And
oh my God,
so my question to you now, Prisha, is considering that you don't have a help at home, considering that everybody is at home 24/7, all the situation which is unchangeable. So there are certain constants and we are saying that you don't have help. Now, given this situation, if I were to ask you, what is it that would bring sanity to you?
A house help.
What needs to happen? No. So house, that is not the rule of the game.
That's not happening. Okay.
Yeah. So that's not a variable anymore. You don't have a help. We are in lockdown. Everybody is home. Your twins are there. The twins are the twins that they are. Now, given all that, these are the rules of the game. If you were to give, I have a magic wand and I'm asking Prisha, what do you want? What is gonna make you become, or rather you not lose your sanity or you stay in your best spirits? What do you think needs to happen?
I would really need my work level to go down. I'm currently doing the basic minimum, but I cannot squeeze that even in my 24 hours a day thing. I would still like that to go down.
And what will make that go down?
Nothing that's in my option right now. So I'm in a stuck situation.
Well, that's where the coach comes in, because when you're in a stuck situation, because that is something you're telling inside of your head that, okay, now I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. So you're saying that you can't change, you can't shift, you can't do anything about your work. So that also becomes a constant. Is there no possibility of you reducing the work that you have in hand?
Doing the bare minimum every day. And even then I'm having inappropriate sleep and all the other troubles because there's something piled up and I have to get it done. I'm late for everything.
Right. So if I have to ask you, Prisha, if you have to perform at your best somewhere, what is the state of mind you need to be in order to improve your efficiency or perform better? Do you need to feel relaxed or do you need to feel stressed and worried about it?
I need to feel relaxed.
Okay. So when you're not feeling relaxed and you have all these chores and everything else outside of your work, which is taking away the relaxed part of the mind, Are you actually being efficient at your work? Are you, because see, we are talking about time is again a constant. We have only these many hours. The only thing we can play with is your efficiency or the amount of work to be done. So these are the two variables. I have a certain amount of work to be done and I have a certain efficiency level. Time is a constant again. Now, if you're not in the relaxed state of mind, do you see yourself taking more time to do the things that you would otherwise do faster, more efficiently? Do you see yourself thinking more creatively, looking at different ways of doing something, more innovative ways of doing something?
I'm going to sound pessimistic here, but I think I'm already doing those things. So
No, that's okay. So you're doing what?
I'm already doing those things. I'm taking the limited amount of time that I have. I'm trying to do the most of what I can fit in, because there are essential things that I leave out on a daily basis that, okay, I just cannot manage this anymore. So this has to go. Maybe I will try doing this again tomorrow.
Right.
So
And
somewhere maybe I need to completely downgrade my standards of having a set house, because I don't see any other option working out here.
and I will ask you again, when you say downgrade, just say the word downgrade. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel good or bad? Or does it make you feel heavy or light?
I feel
just say
I
the word
don't
downgrade and you just say the word downgrade and close your eyes and feel it in your body. How does it feel? Heavy or light?
I don't know. That's a difficult thing to understand.
You
I
don't
think
have
I
to
will
understand.
feel light. Yeah.
So say the word downgrade. Just play the game.
Okay.
Just say the word downgrade.
Downgrade. Yeah, it feels heavy.
Yeah, it feels heavy. And when something feels heavy, do you have the energy to do it fast? Anything that's heavy, that's dragging you down, does that allow you to do things fast? So basically what I'm trying to get at is that, this is a time when you have to learn to organize better, maybe plan better. Niyati has already mentioned that. And we say performance, there is a 80-20, there is a Pareto's rule. There is only 20% of the work that gives you 80% value. You just need to identify that 20% of the work. And the minute you say, I am downgrading my standards, so you are already making yourself heavy. And when you do anything inside of that heaviness, it will only make it tougher. It will make it drag it more. It'll again play on your mind. And mental exhaustion, let me tell you, physical exhaustion is nothing in front of mental exhaustion. So the self-talk that you're doing, what you're speaking to yourself, all these words, that's why I say that, when you utter a word, every word has a certain energy to it. Every word has a certain, it runs.
Effect on us.
Yes, it has and we call that emotion. So it runs at certain energy in your body, and all the actions that you're taking in your life, you're sitting in a certain energy space and taking those actions in your life. So if you're using these words and telling yourself constantly, oh my God, this is chaotic, my children are driving me crazy, my husband is not helping, oh, I don't have a maid, you have actually done a lot of disservice to yourself just by saying those things to yourself. Instead, you have a choice to say, oh, I'm blessed that I have a roof on my head. My children are with me. There was a time when people used to say, old timers ki जितन बच्चों की किलकारियों से मतलब घर हरा भरा मतलब it shows happiness. And today we say मेरे सर में दर्द हो रहा है. So it is just a thing in your head, how we have been conditioned to look at a certain thing. And since there is a change now, and suddenly there is things are not running the usual way, we get into that mode of resistance, rejecting, and it only drags our energy down. So just stay aware of that.
I might, sorry.
Yes.
If I might just chip in, Vinita here, I think a unkept house is a better option than a cluttered mind. Just declutter yourself. Let the house be, the way it is. And I'm sure Prisha must be doing a good job. She's doing her best. And that's what matters, I guess. I mean, you have to declutter your mind basically. It doesn't matter whether your house is cluttered. I mean, it's just all right.
I think it is easier said than done, because somewhere down the line, I understand the self-talk
Yes,
bit.
Prisha.
It's something that I often tell other people also, that
Yes,
how you
Prisha.
talk to yourself is listening to it. So we rather be careful. I understand what you, Vinita, what you caught about this entire bit, that I'm doing some bit of negative self-talk. This is a realization for my own self right now. But also, my workload is a lot.
Yes.
So
And
that is not moving.
right.
So it's
And
not
that is,
just about, sorry.
no, please complete.
It's not just about me thinking that I am overburdened with work, but the reality is I literally have a lot of work, which I often fail to explain to a lot of people, because nobody understands that some houses can have a lot more work than regular houses. Maybe I'm not as efficient as a lot of other mothers, a lot of other women. Maybe I'm not as physically active as I should be, or maybe I need more time to relax. But either way, I have a lot on my plate, and I cannot take any of that out of my plate in terms of calling it, non-essential or something that I can put off for tomorrow.
Totally.
So the only thing, I'll just add one thing here, Prisha. The only thing that comes right now for you is, maybe there is an area of growth where you learn to prioritize. I say, just pick, if you have 10 items on your plate, pick the 2 items the day before. I mean, you can just experiment. I say, this life is your laboratory. So you can only experiment. Some things will work for somebody, may not work for somebody, but until you experiment, you won't know. So before you go to sleep, make a list of, let's say, 10 things. I'm again saying hypothetically, let's say there are 10 things that you have planned for tomorrow. Just pick the 2 things which are of highest importance. And I say 2 things. The 2 things, if you do them, 80% of your work is done. You will feel, oh, a big chunk of my thing is done. Okay. And go to sleep with that thing in mind, because when you give that particular action to your brain, a lot gets achieved when you are relaxing, when you are in a relaxed mood. A lot of the work, a lot of the planning happens in the mind. And so when you have that clarity in your mind, you will see work will naturally follow that course of action. So try doing that, I would say, that plan your day.
Sorry, I just need to hold on.
That's okay.
Uda jao! Vinny!
I
You can
think
mute her.
Tina ma'am
Yeah.
also wanted to say
Somebody
something.
wanted to say something. Yes. Seema
Seema
ma'am, you're on mute.
Yeah. So my perspective is a little different from the moms here, though I'm a mother to 2 kids, but I'm also an educationist. So what I'm facing is not only the battle, I should not say challenge, battle at home, but it's also what's happening in the school with the online classes. I've been in this profession since last 25 years, and we have seen the evolution of the teaching learning process from our times, from rote memorization to hands-on and activity-based learning, and then smart classes, and now online classes, and now the focus is on experiential learning. That's what we all are focusing at. So what happens is that too much of screen time to the children is making them, I think they're losing their sanity if you ask me. And because when I, as a vice principal and as an observer, when I visit all the classes, I've got access to the classes. We have Zoom classes, so when I enter some class, yesterday I was shocked to see one child, he was, it was seeming that he was forced to sit on that chair, and he was forced to attend the class. And usually we tell the parents that when a child, give him a quiet corner where he should not be disturbed. But then I could see the mother coming into the room, and he was making such a bad face looking at her, the way she was moving. And then mother also picked something, and she was also giving dirty looks and going back. So what was the child absorbing? He was not absorbing anything. And again, that was one situation. But then since 24th of March, we're having these classes, and we start from 9 till 1:40. And I also take 2 classes. I take biology for 11th and 12th, but then I observe other classes. And then there are parents calling me in the evening. They're saying, these kids are like, they are too much. and they have to be they have to attend their classes, they have to do their homework, and 11th and 12th standard students are also doing Akash and other coaching that also on Zoom they are doing. So they are having a tough time at home, and parents' expectations are hitting the roof. And then everybody is work from home, mother, father, everything. It's like I don't know. So I don't know how to bridge a gap between this, and because of the screen time, these kids are at a back foot, because the next thing that we will hear is their the vision problem. There'll be a vision problem, there'll be obesity, you'll have to deal with much more after the lockdown, is what I feel as an educationist. So how do we, Vinita, sort of bridge a gap wherein parents also understand? And because then there are students who will call me and they'll tell me either on Instagram chat, Insta chat, or otherwise, that please call my parents and talk to them and tell them, he's the whole time he's nagging at me, and mom is saying this and dad is saying this. So it's like both ways. I'm in the middle, and I can hear the parents also, and I can hear the kids also. So it's like we're bombarded from all sides. So in such a kind of a situation, how does what is the advice that one should give to the parents? And there's some 2,000 parents, all of them don't call, but then the ones who really lose out their mind, they call that what should we do? So what do you
Yeah.
think, Deepika, is your take on this?
And I'm going to ask the same question to you, that if you were to give a suggestion, give a solution to this, if you were to, what would you do? What would be your suggestion?
I always tell them that, you come down 2 notches, let them also come down 2 notches, and counsel them separately. Mother on one side, and say, it's okay, it doesn't matter, this is not going to last forever. Again, kids on the other end, it's okay. Look at her, she's doing so much she's doing extra work, doing work from home, and then looking after the house. And fathers also are pitching in. They're also walking an extra mile to make things comfortable. This is what I have come across now. The good facts that I'm hearing, or the good things I'm hearing about lockdown, is that families, most of them, I've not heard bad things about that. Most of the families are united, and they have divided their tasks. They are doing the work together. So it's something good that children are also learning. So that's good. So we have to individually counsel them and tell them, come down 2 notches, and this is a temporary phase. And then we as human beings always have to evolve, and we have to adapt, and we have to accept the change that is there, and work around it to make live each day in a better way, and then look forward to the next day, is what I usually say.
Fantastic, Seema. That's great. But I would also want you to connect to the big picture. Why are we even having these online classes? What's the bigger objective? What are we trying to achieve by either having the kids attend the online classes, or we giving the online classes? What is the higher objective?
See, we have to according, if you ask me, I have got 2 things to this. One is, this is one way of keeping the children busy. You won't imagine that we are not only just not teaching, we are planning the timetable well in advance. It's not only the academics that we are touching. We have our PT teachers taking online classes. So one of our PT has lost weight because he's taking 5 classes from morning till evening, doing PT in each and every class. Then there is needlework also. Then there is some kind of a sandwich making, and then salad making, or something like that. We have a mixed bag of activities also for them, because that's also one way of keeping them busy. That gives mothers some time to do their daily household chores. And then we tell the mother, see, look at us. We have at a time, sometimes we merge our classes, we have 80 at a time, sometimes we got 40 at a time. You have just 2, and you can't handle those 2. So they say, yeah, that is there. But then physical interaction, and also mothers and all nowadays, they're not used to keep kids at home. They think 6 hours at school. They're not used to this, keeping kids at home for 2 months. So they are also getting used to it. So they also have to adapt. They have to accept the change.
So now I will come. Sorry, can I just, Charu, is there something important you want to say here?
No, Vinita, I wanted to add to what ma'am is always saying, because the other constant thing that all us mothers are feeling is also, so they've had screen time, say from 9 to 1 or 9 to 12, they've already been in front of the screen for 3 hours. But for kids, that is just study, right? Yeah. After that, when they tell you that now I want to play a game online, or now I want to watch a movie, and then we get into a debate with them where we say, oh, too much screen time is not good for you.
Yeah.
That is really where the pressure is
Exactly.
building. You know it's going to blast.
Yeah. And you can't send them out.
Although, yeah, and although it's a very, I mean, honestly, I feel it's easy. Like I would empathize with with Prisha there. That sometimes it's very easy. It looks very easy to say that you can always say enough. Abhi nahi karna hai. But when you're in that situation, it doesn't happen. If your kid has been there for 3 hours and then you tell that kid ki now you can't watch Harry Potter because you've had your screen time, or you can see it, it's okay, and then you start feeling guilty that, oh God, my kid is going to have bad vision. What do you do about that? I can see all the mothers on the panel smiling on this one.
I was about to ask the same thing. They want their own screen time. They call it our screen time. But mom, we didn't get our screen time. Absolutely, bang on.
Yeah. Right. So I'll address the individual question that you have raised here. But even before going to that, I'll just ask, when you have a certain situation or any circumstance at hand, we have a quote that we say, change what you can. And when you can't, what do you do? So either you can change the situation or you can accept it. Okay, so change what you can or accept the situation in the right spirit. So that is just a quote. I want it to be running at the back of your heads. Now I'll come to the exact question that has been raised about screen time. I asked this question as to what's the higher objective. If one is that the mothers want to have some me time by having the children engaged in something, and they think this is productive activity because they're studying, they're learning something. But is actually learning happening? Is your child in the space to learn something or not? Because everything, I think the school's intent is children don't lose out on learning. Maybe I'm assuming that's the whole objective of education, of schools and providing education, that children should learn. But if we are in a certain situation where that objective is not being met, it could be for some child, it may not be for somebody. Now one has to look at as to, is my child learning in this particular situation? If not, please don't force him or her to attend that particular online class just because you want some me time. Okay, so that is where I think every parent has to, and it's again, I said, to each his own. There is no standard black and white. One child may really enjoy the online classes and may be actively looking forward to attending those online classes, but there may be another child who's least interested. Let him or her be and not attend it. So the next point I want to actually, I will answer. You have a question, I see, Seema. But the other thing is being busy, keeping your child busy. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we do. And we've all been conditioned that way. We've all been growing up that, idle mind is devil's workshop. We should always be busy doing something. And now we have been conditioned to, many a times just be busy doing nothing. I would say this is a time when one needs to just chill, relax, be lazy, do nothing, be idle. These are the things people have stopped appreciating because every minute has to be planned. Every moment has to be productive. We should be creating something. Otherwise, it's a waste of resource. These are some thoughts which are pushing people, and they feel guilty when they are not doing it. I've seen a lot of women feel that way. Oh, aaj main sara din soi, so I'm feeling very guilty. Arey, that's okay.
Why these women?
Yeah. So that's the same thing, and that is what gets driven into the children also. I say, why can't parents just decide this is a 0 year for my child? Let my child, 1 year in the whole lifetime doesn't even count anywhere. I mean, not even a year, it's a few months. But even if we have to consider the whole year, let the child relax, chill, do what he or she wants to do. This is once in a lifetime opportunity for them to do this. Yes, teachers are doing their job by providing an option that if you're interested and if you want to do something, please come and attend the class. But then let the child make a decision and choose whether they want to. A lot of hands going up. Okay, go ahead. Who wants to go first? Now, Charu, you are the moderator. You will decide who speaks first.
So Seema ma'am, how about we
Okay.
take you on?
So what I'm saying is that always we have in a physical classroom also, when we are in the class, we'll always have mixed bag of students, some interested and some will not be interested, some will be looking out of the window. Same condition is here also, because I'm practically taking the class, and the same set of students who are in 11th standard have come in 12th standard. Attitude is same. The ones who are interested, who are sincere, they'll be the first ones to log in, they will do their work, they'll send their assignment. The ones who need a push, they'll be pushed. Ones who need kick, they'll be kicked. So the scenario remains the same. And so I think, I personally feel, being in that in that situation, that giving them an option, these lazy ones will become super lazy. And also, I think this problem what Benita you are addressing, I agree with you at some places, but then we have students from classes 1 to class 12, and each age group has a specific problem. You give an option to students of standard 9 to standard 12, they will be busy on their mobiles. That is another complaint that comes. They will be hooked onto their mobiles. So that's their their personal gadget, and then Instagram, and then Facebook, and then what is that, Tinder and Bumble and this and that, everything. We are facing that every day. And then cyberbullying, then they have confession pages, and then they have we deal with all this kind of getting screenshots from students. Man, see, this is what was there. There are some will let the cat back, will just spill the beans and tell us this is what is happening on the other side. So this kind of situation is also there. So it is not only keeping them busy, but being constructive. So we have to, take it on with the constructivist approach, being productive. Yeah, 1 week, 2 week is okay, but this we see not ending very soon. I think it will not be August till we go to school.
It seems
Right.
a little,
So,
last a
yeah.
little longer. I think Namrata, sorry, Benita, I think Namrata also
Yeah,
wanted to add something.
I will. Can I just, because I may lose the thought that I had, so I'll just respond to Seema here. The only thing I want everybody to keep in mind is, we started this whole talk show by saying that we are in unprecedented times. We are in uncertain times that we have not handled before. So we don't have that inbuilt capacity or capability in ourselves. We are all adapting, we are all learning, we are all evolving, we are all growing. Children are the most impacted, but they're great learners also. This will leave them with a great experience. It depends on what kind of experience we give to them, inside of which, either, as you said, yes, in classrooms also you'll have the lazy ones, and you'll have the distracted ones, and you'll have the most attentive ones, but it's a more controlled environment. Now the whole environment has changed. If we continue to act the way we have acted in a different environment before, now it will not create the outcomes that you are hoping. So I always said, if you have the outcomes in mind, what are the outcomes that I want to create? Then see, are my actions aligned with creating, rather than, this is how we did and this is what we have thought of doing, but kind of thinking that, are there different actions that we need to take, considering that we are all going through this shift in the environment, and the children are also, they are having a larger impact than we as adults are feeling. All right, go ahead. I hope that answers and that addresses some part of your.
I wanted to say something.
Yes, Niyati.
Yes.
Seema, are you speaking? If you're speaking, you're on mute.
1 second. Yeah. Thank you so much, Benita, for helping me out with this. And I feel like after hearing what all moms have to say, that we are not doing such a bad job. So we are all sailing in the same boat, and we are, if you take out the
doing
average,
our best.
Yeah, doing our best, and I think are doing the best to our capabilities. And because I think we are, as moms, we are walking an extra mile, so we'll evolve much better after the lockdown, and we'll be the ones will be we'll have our skills more honed, and I think we'll pat ourselves on our back.
Absolutely. And I always say women are the leaders at home, and this is an opportunity to build on your leadership skills. Look at all the attributes that great leaders have. They are great at managing, setting expectations, so all those skills that are coming to the forefront. I mean, I don't want to go with the whole list here, But yes, that is who women have to emerge out from this whole experience. They will emerge as better leaders who can handle, these kind of unprecedented or challenging times. Can we go to Niyati now? I think she had a question.
Sorry, I was just adding on to what Seema Bali said. My kids are in, younger one is in kindergarten and the older one is in primary school. Online classes are definitely helpful. It's up to the parent how much you want to push your child. So there was a competition recently. We didn't participate because we didn't have the time. So I feel it's good to set a routine every day. The child sits down for some time and things are on track. They value their free time more then. They look forward to that. As for
Yes.
screen time, I always negotiate with my children. I tell them before they start watching that how long are you going to watch it for. So I don't declare it in the middle of it or at the end. So once you talk to them like adults that, okay, you're going to watch it for 20 minutes or only this particular serial, they understand it better. Even with food, when they have tantrums, I tell them, let me do a day in advance what you want to eat for breakfast tomorrow, because mama can't just make it on the spot. I have a lot to do. So I think when you explain to the children, now my son understands that, okay, no auntie is coming to help in the house and mama is doing everything. So when you tell them and explain to them, I think when they have an explanation, they understand and will be surprised whatever age they are, they do understand. As for
Wonderful.
Prisha, I felt she was overwhelmed. What Prisha is doing and what most of us are doing, we are not doing regular jobs. We are social media moms. Our jobs, we are checking our phones even at midnight. So I understand when she feels overwhelmed. The way I tackle it is I don't touch my phone till my house chores are done, because I cannot live in clutter. I think better, I'm more creative, and I do it much better when my house is done, when our kids are looked after, everything's done. So I think we all have an approach, but as I said before, you have to have a plan, and to each its own. I think that's how it will
Absolutely.
be.
Niyati, it's not
Absolutely.
just about having a set plan. Sometimes, let me put it in nicer words, that not all children are compliant.
Yes.
Some have a very strong headedness even at a very young age. And one of my children is exactly like that. The moment I have swept the house, there will be a fresh mango squeezed on the floor. The moment the mango is wiped out, there will be a box of rice that has just been spilled because it was fun. So there's a lot of unexpected things happening with parents. It's not just about our jobs coming in the way. Any mother who is a social media influencer and also a stay-at-home mom, they will always have this habit of checking their phone. If they're checking it frequently, they'll be checking it only for a fraction of minutes, that quickly you check what's going on, then you move back to work. Or they check it only when they are free, when they've come to lie down in their room, or when everybody has slept and has been fed. But there are a lot of other things. That's what I said, that a lot of times people think that maybe I don't have enough management skills, or maybe I'm a little lazy. But I literally have a lot of work, primarily because of my husband, who's a little demanding in terms of what he prefers to eat. And no, ye khalo does not work with him. Not everybody is the same, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but honestly, and this, I mean, hats off to you to that you are being so honest here, because every time when I see you on Instagram, I've always just seen a happy mom, and I would have never ever thought that you are so overworked, you're so overwhelmed, and it's so nice that you're talking about it, and I'm totally with you, because every time I want to just sit down and have a binge show of Netflix, I refuse to feel guilty. I refuse to feel, that, oh God, the kids are just sitting there and having a free play while she's just sitting there entertaining herself. I'm fine with that, and I think what Niyati said is something that really hit very hard with me, that we just need to
Yes.
simplify. We just need to
Yes.
let go of that guilt. Also,
I absolutely agree with what Niyati said, and some of her points really made sense. But what I'm trying to say is that it does not always fit exactly in someone else's system.
Absolutely,
अच्छा,
I agree.
आपका routine set है, या आपका सब कुछ set hai, so it will go accordingly. Not all children understand. And it's not just about parents teaching things to children. Some children are very strong-willed from the moment they're born. In fact, my child is just exactly like me. I used to be a big fat problem for my mom. And she would always be overwhelmed and overworked and irritated and angry. I try to be happy because I've seen my mom getting upset about it, and it did not help her and it did not help me. So I try my best to keep my calm. However, I do share all these naughty things also on my social media, just to clarify. But anyways,
But
let's just
yeah.
carry
Trisha,
on. Yeah.
just
And,
want to add one thing. Like, I heard a lot of times you mentioning that, you know, I may not be this good, I may not be doing that, I may not be keep, you know, I think that's an observation, that accepting and loving yourself, being equally kind and compassionate towards yourself, it has to begin from there. The self love, I see
my
the
own
self love.
therapist my own therapist is after my life, and we're working very strongly on this because as per her assessment, I have a very high set standard of perfection for myself, and everything has to be spick and span, and I fail my own threshold. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. Yes,
absolutely. And Prisha, so when we said, you know, make a plan, organize better, you know, so you might be doing everything to the hilt, to the best. What you're not doing probably is not patting your back enough, not telling yourself that I'm outstanding and I love myself the way I am and for doing whatever I am doing. So at least start acknowledging yourself for all the things that you're doing so brilliantly till this point of time.
no, I'm working hard on doing that, and I'm really working hard on doing that, on forgiving myself and saying that it's okay, what you're doing is fine, because somewhere I can't convince myself that what I'm doing is enough. It's not okay, it's not standard. So
that's what we all moms do, I guess. And ladies, although this is turning out to be a very fruitful chat,
very enlightening chat.
I'm sorry, it's actually bubbling inside of me. Just give me one moment, Charu.
Sure, but absolutely. My only request would be that because we are heading towards the end of the program, and there are also some questions from the viewers.
Sure.
So, let's just go up to you, Vinita.
Yes. So in all my interactions, because I think Prisha triggered this particular thing, that self-love is the basic thing. Every person has to start looking at how much self-love, everything has to come from that space. Okay. So I see that missing in, especially women, they think once they are married, self-love is out of the window. And they easily give away the power to somebody else. So being in your own power and having self-love will, I wouldn't say will take away the problems from your life, but will enable you to handle those problems better. The challenges will come, the problems will come. How do you respond to those situations? That your child may spill the mango on the floor, do whatever the child wants to do. How do you respond to that situation? When that shifts, if it doesn't bother you and you're like sitting and smiling, aam gira diya, fine, kabhi to saaf karna hai. So, but now what is happening is your response is different. So it will come only from the space of being in power and self-love. That's it. I just wanted to, because self-love really is something. If there was a pill, I would sell a pill to everyone. Isko kha lo, self-love, self-love, self-love. So once that is taken care of, I think
I'm sorry. Let's just take Namrata also, because for a long time she's been raising her hand.
She's been wanting, yes.
So Namrata,
I
quickly
I had a little question with Vinita, but I think you wanted to move to the audience. I just wanted to understand. Yeah. So very quickly, most of us are in a nuclear setup, and I have a single child. So if you have like two children, they keep themselves busy. Now the problem is she is a little too happy, just being in the circle. When she was like very extrovert, she loved her friends. And I find this a little disturbing. I mean, as if she's losing out on her social skills. Even if I say that things are okay, just call your friend. If you can't meet her, just call. She's like, no, I'm fine. So that is like scaring me a little. Is she, getting in her own shell? I just wonder at times.
Right. So, Namrata, the only suggestion I would have here is rather than asking or telling them to do this or that, help them get in touch with what they are feeling. If you would just ask her, what are you feeling? And get to know what exactly is she feeling. And then from there, you will have an access to her behavior, why she's behaving in a certain way. And then rather than you telling her that, why don't you call your friends and do this? What would you want to do? So engage her in getting help, because that is another big problem. Children, teenagers, especially, how old is your daughter?
She's 9.
She's 9. Okay. So children, they don't learn to be in touch with their feelings. We are only focusing on their behavior. Oh, this person behaved like this. But the behavior is an action which is actually originating from a state in the body, which is a feeling. So there is a certain energy in the body, emotion. Inside of that emotion, they are taking some actions, and those actions we are looking at as behaviors, and we are trying to fix the behavior. Whereas if you help the child connect with, oh, this is what you're feeling, because of which, so is there another way how you can express, is there another action through which you can express this feeling? And that may give you an access to channeling what she is doing currently.
Thanks.
Okay,
Hope
so
that answers, yes.
I think from here I'll just let the Ketchup Moms team of Jayanti and Shiny take over, because there are some questions from the viewers, and I think we should wrap it up as quickly as possible because we've already exceeded our time. So
Okay.
Jayanti, up to you guys.
Hi. Hello. Yeah. Before we get to read the questions what the viewers have sent, I want Shiny to take the floor to come up with her own personal question. She has few.
Yeah, before we
Yeah,
go on
Shiny.
to the viewers' question, I have my own question. One is that how can we create a mental space, our own mental space, when we don't have that enough physical space? Because like, yeah, we all are living in a house, and you know the kids are around. Where do we get our me time? How?
So can I? Shiny, you asked how can I create my mental space when I'm staying in a closed physical space. Is that what your question is? Did I get it correctly?
When we don't have that enough physical space.
Right. So Shiny, I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and think of the last chaotic situation that you had in your life. Whatever memory, just close your eyes, trust your own.
That's what I can think of is like me watching my own series on a Netflix.
So yes, last chaotic time. I'm saying the last chaotic time when you completely lost it and you were, the worst time maybe.
All toys spilled over. I'm like, they're shouting, screaming. This is every day. I think every mom could relate to this.
Fantastic. Now think of the last vacation you had with your family when you were totally relaxing, chilling, doing whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was just, I could move out of this space, that particular space.
Right. I'm asking everybody to just observe Shiny's face. When she was talking about that chaotic situation, did you see her face?
We did.
And yeah?
Yeah.
So, and when she just thought of the last vacation when she was relaxed and she was doing, did you observe her face?
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
And if somebody didn't, please I would say, speak up. I mean, that's okay.
In fact, she had a glow on her face when she was trying to remember
instant,
her vacation.
Yes, there was an instant shift.
Yeah.
And when we talk about mind space, it is that your thought creates your mind space. Your memories create your mind space. And when I say what the self-talk that you're doing, that is creating your mind space. It doesn't have to do anything with your physical space. If you just make it a habit that morning I wake up and I look at the chair and I say, you're my favorite chair, you're my favorite bed, you're my favorite fan, you're my favorite AC. I mean, just saying these words, they will shift, they have an impact and they will shift your energy. the moment you access your memories, the objective of memories is again to get into a certain mind space. So think of all positive memories that you have had. Use all these tools that you have gathered through your experiences, which is already there in your kitty. Put it to use. Every morning, sit and think of or spend. I would say I didn't get to those points that, what are those best practices that you should do, because each one of you can go and Google that what are the things to do to stay sane during lockdown, and you will get n number of options there. Meditate, go out in the fresh air, take some fresh air, engage in some movement, some activities. The whole idea is so that you keep the energy inside your body balanced, high, and don't bring it down, so that you can handle the challenge better. Because mentally, if you're in a happy state, in a positive state, then any challenge that presents itself to you, you will give a better response to that, rather than when you're not in a good mental space. So I hope that answers your question, Shiny.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me take it over from here. There are a few questions which we have to address to from the viewers. Just a small, I would say, reflection from the talk what we had. I think I have a bigger elder kid compared to all of you in the panel, I guess. And let me put it in a very small nutshell, my experience. Okay, don't lose your sanity. Keep doing. You have to be organized. You play your role as a mother. I'm telling you, your kids are observing. And when they are thrown to a situation where they have to manage all by themselves, you'll be really surprised that they are doing what you have done in front of them all these years.
Absolutely.
So just keep doing, don't give up, continue, keep organized work, keep your place neat. Losing sanity, part and parcel of life, that has to be an emotion coming out. We have to throw out the emotion. But then do not underplay ourselves. The kids are absorbing us. And you will see our kids when they step out home to grow their higher studies or whatever, they'll be the most organized person who will actually give you could be a big pack of surprise to you all. So that's my experience. And
Absolutely.
thanks
And
a ton,
I just
Lisa. It was, yeah.
no, go ahead, complete, please.
Yeah. It was such an awesome, I would say, session and tips, and it was very well handled. Let me quickly get to the viewers' questions. They are all waiting to hear you talk. So 1 minute. Yeah, we might have very less time comparatively. So whatever we can, we will.
Which are not being discussed before.
Jayanti, I'm sorry to interrupt, but may I please take everyone's leave? My child has been banging on the door for a lot of time.
Yeah, we're just going to just wind up the session
Okay,
in
cool.
another 5 minutes max. Yeah.
Sure.
So the prime question which has come up, there are a lot of questions which has been discussed in the panel, and most of them have asked the same questions. There's a wonderful question which has come up from Jamie Mahajan. Okay, bang on question, I would say. Do you really think that the kids will understand us and what we teach them? We are talking about keeping our sanity. Do you think the kids are really going to understand what we are trying to convey in the form of we keeping our sanity, and whatever we teach them? Are they, maybe I have to put it like, he might be asking that, are they matured enough to understand? Or if they are not, how do we gauge them? I think it's something which is...
I would like to, so firstly, I would like to understand. The question is about, are we gonna teach our kids something here? So I'm seriously, Jayanti, I'm not understanding.
How do we, the question is, how do we teach them? That we have...
Here we're talking about not losing our own sanity. We are not teaching the kids are anyways learning what they have to learn just by observing how we are being. So what we need to focus more on is how are we being? How are we responding to a situation? Because that is the most powerful way to teach a child. Not by telling. I always said, whatever you, no matter you speak to them for an hour, that will have no impact. So rather than speaking to them, just do what you would like them to do. Show it to them. They're like monkeys. They'll copy you, they'll imitate you. So I don't think here the focus or the agenda is how do we teach our children? It's how do we act?
Correct. That's what I thought. Like, yeah. Yeah, there are a few more questions, but we might not have time. So we need to wind it up. Charu, you can.
Jenny, there's one that I guess Shiny has picked. Shiny, would you want to quickly?
Yes, there's a question from a viewer that is, amidst of all the responsibility, nurturing kids, looking after the elders, cooking, cleaning, and more, how do we keep connect with our partners that much wanted a break and intimacy?
How do we make time for intimacy when everything else is falling apart? Binita?
Right. And again, I would go back to your list, your priority list. Prioritize it. Whatever falls in your priority, you can't have 100 things on your priority list. If you have 100 things on your priority list, you probably have to then pick, okay, these are the 5 I'm going to go with, and just stay with that. And if intimacy is there on your priority list, and it should be because it fills you up with energy and gives you lots of positivity, if that's the case, then keep it on your priority list and take time for that. And everything else can be pushed below.
Sure. So I think Sabine wants to say something. Sabine, you need to unmute. Jayanti, we need to unmute Sabine. Yeah.
Sabine, you're on mute.
Unmute, please.
Sabine, you need to unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Binita. Thank you very much. It has been a great session. But I, on a lighter side, I wanted to share an interesting anecdote with you. Like I used to use this weird threat on my younger one whenever he used to misbehave. Boarding बेच देंगे. And you know what he has come up with? He is saying, आप तो नहीं कर सकते because corona का vaccine आने वाला नहीं है 1 साल तक. So I mean, it's actually very funny. But I guess these anecdotes, they keep you going. I mean, they kind of, make you smile and keep you going. And thank you, Binita. Thanks a ton.
And I would want to close this that, just remember wherever your attention goes, energy flows. When you look at a pond, there is mud there and there is a lotus there. You always have a choice to either look at the mud and think how dirty it is, or you can look at the lotus. In this situation, if you choose to look at what are the good things, you're able to spend this much time with your child, you're able to have this family time, all the positives. There are both. There are challenges and there are a lot of positives. Those focusing on those positives will A, grow those positives more in your life, and B, fill you up with the energy to look at the things that are, or respond to the things that are not working that well in your life. So that's the only thing. We can only do our best. And each of us are doing our best to our best capabilities. So
thank you.
Continue doing that.
Thank you so much, Binita. Thank you for your lovely advices. And thank you everybody on the panel for your time and for, even being so honest with us. And I want to thank you, all the viewers. Thank you for being there. Sorry for what happened yesterday. That was a technical glitch. But I'm glad that you all are here today and you've been here and you sent us your questions also. And I think just to wrap up the thing, before we meet next time and, for Ketchup Moms, let's talk. I think the nishkarsh jise kehte hain, wo ye hai that somewhere we all mothers need to remember कि माँ भी तो इंसान ही है ना. We just need to remember that. Thank you so much. This has been a lovely time talking to all of you.
Everyone.
Same here. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for having me here.
It was a great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.